The experience of watching a film can take the viewer away from reality and capture their imagination. Shutter Island is vastly engaging, entertaining, with exceptional plot that succeeds in hypnotizing audiences with great cinematography. Where film buffs will recognize and appreciate the depth and uniqueness of the writing, the greatest joy from watching Shutter Island is noticing all the small details which are typically overlooked at first glance. Shutter Island brilliantly questions the themes surrounding perspective and identity, implementing scenes that emphasize their importance to society and the viewer. Shutter Island's director, Martin Scorsese, is known for his work in films such as Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, and Casino. His experience, paired with Leonardo DiCaprio's Academy Award winning acting, results in DiCaprio being allowed the freedom to use his preferred mise-en-scène method in a role where he flourishes. Along with Scorsese's ability to display the discrete details, the entire audience enjoys an excellent viewing experience. The purpose of watching a film for the second time is allowing yourself to view the story from its true perspective. Knowing of Shutter Island's surprising plot twist, the film diverted from being a mystery thriller following Detective Edward Teddy Daniels as he searches for the missing patient from the Ashcliffe Mental Institution to watching Andrew Ladis as he lives in his created reality, watching and reacting along with the supporting character to Teddy's descent into madness and his eventual realization. There is a saying that states, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Regarding Shutter Island, once the viewer knows the ending and watches it again, they realize all the aspects of the film which would have made the ending and plot twist blatantly obvious. The reason these aspects were missed was due to the power of perspective. As everything is directed to be from Teddy's point of view, the audience doesn't know better to not question the reality of the situation. Notable parts that were enjoyable due to the perspective shift were the interactions between characters and the fantasizing imagery used to display Teddy's point of view. Interactions had an added complexion as there is now reasoning for why Teddy wasn't being taken seriously by guards or doctors. Chuck also provides foreshadowing by calling
Teddy Daniels, the man, the legend.
Teddy has created himself as a hero as he fears the reality of who he truly is. Imagery also added to the element of watching the film twice, as unusual interactions and phenomenons are displayed, such as the wall of rats and the deformed Rachel Solando. Only seen by Teddy, the unrealistic images are confusing but are enjoyed when watched again. One of the best parts of watching Shutter Island for the second time was admiring Leonardo DiCaprio as he performs. The experience of watching a Leonardo DiCaprio film is majorly underappreciated by casual film watchers, as watching a DiCaprio film is the equivalent to watching Michael Jordan play in the 90s. DiCaprio has mastered his craft and executes his ability to express the character's thoughts and provoke emotions phenomenally in the role of Teddy. I first watched Shutter Island slightly confused by DiCaprio's choices. As I watched Shutter Island again and realized the truth surrounding his character, I appreciated and enjoyed DiCaprio's portrayal of Teddy and the emphasis on Teddy's seasickness. His emphasis and ability to execute his acting allows the symbols of fire and water to have greater depth. Within the film, water symbolizes reality and truth. However, where DiCaprio excels beyond, and is the reason he is considered one of the greatest, is his ability to change perspective once the element of fire is added to the scene. As fire symbolizes fantasy, Teddy's illusions always involve fire, which is where DiCaprio is allowed to express Teddy's flaws and shows the character's layers and insanity. Teddy's fear of water and reality follows him throughout the film, which allowed for many memorable climaxes, such as the leap of faith and his children's death. His fantastic acting is put on display throughout the closing scenes, where DiCaprio's ability to express traumatic emotions seemed to perfectly emulate how a real person would react in the situation, capturing his emotion and causing the viewer to involuntarily feel commiseration and despair for Teddy. The greatest part of watching Shutter Island for the second time is the experience. On Shutter Island's cover, it states that it is a stunning masterpiece that requires and demands multiple viewings. What allows watching the film to be an enjoyable experience over multiple viewings is the experience that Martin Scorsese brings to the director's chair. An aspect of watching the film again where I found enjoyment was understanding the characters' purpose through their names. An incredibly directed scene was the ending scene where Dr. Crawley explains to Teddy and the audience the reality of the film. The names of Teddy Andrews, Rachel Solando, and Chuck All were created within Teddy's imagination, as the purpose of their anagram is to highlight how Teddy twists reality. He created his own persona of Edwards Daniels to avoid the guilt that follows the name Andrew Laeddis. Scorsese has directed scenes subtly expressing Teddy's guilt. Teddy's emotions are only truly noticed during a second watch, where his layers are broken down by the cinematography techniques put in place by Scorsese, like the freeze frames. Scorsese has used this in other films, such as Goodfellas. The first of many free frames from the film is of Dolores laying her head on Teddy's shoulder. This identifies that the weight of Dolores' memories will be a burden on Teddy throughout the film. This is just another example of Scorsese's brilliance. The experience of recognizing subtleties and watching the work of two of the greatest, Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, made me feel accomplished in a way. The reason Shutter Island is underrated as a film is because of audiences not understanding its complexion regarding its perspective and cinematography. When I watched the film for the second time and understood what was happening, it made the viewing an exceptional experience.